The galaxy had long forgotten what real courage looked like. For centuries, the great alien empires ruled with cold logic and iron fleets. They believed humans were soft creatures, emotional, unpredictable, unimportant. On the outer edge of their controlled space sat a small human colony, barely a dot on their star maps. That is where everything began to change. The alien patrol ship Vathruk entered the human sector under the flag of inspection. Its crew, a mix of reptilian warriors and gray-skinned tacticians, expected no resistance. They thought humans would bow, as others always did. But they did not expect a small girl standing in their way. Her eyes steady, her yellow jacket bright under the sun. And beside her, the strange creature they mocked before they even knew its name. Her name was Lena Carter, only 12 years old, daughter of a human biologist and a mechanic. The creature beside her was called Rex, a honey badger genetically enhanced to survive alien ecosystems. To the aliens, it looked ridiculous, short, stocky, and constantly growling. They laughed when they first saw it. "This is what humans call a pet?" one officer sneered. "It looks like a ground rat wearing fur armor." But laughter faded fast. The day began with alarms. The alien patrol demanded that all humans surrender their communication devices and genetic samples for research. When Lena's mother refused, one of the aliens shoved her aside. That was when Rex stood up, teeth bared and the air changed. His growl rolled through the camp like thunder trapped in a metal cage. The soldiers raised their weapons, but their commander, tall, cold, confident, simply smirked. "Control your animal, child," he said. "Before it becomes my lunch." Lena didn't answer. She placed one hand on Rex's back. The honey badger's armor panels hummed as they activated, tiny blue lights running down his neck. His red eyes glowed faintly. The soldiers froze, uncertain. The humans nearby stepped back, whispering. No one had ever seen an Earth creature move like that. Then the commander reached for his weapon. Rex moved first. A flash of silver and black crossed the space between them. The commander's rifle was torn apart before he could fire. Sparks scattered. Rex stood on his hind legs, growling with such force that dust rippled on the ground. The aliens stepped backward in fear, their weapons trembling. The small creature looked at each of them, then back to Lena, waiting for a command. She didn't speak. She only looked at her mother, still on the ground, and then at the invaders. Rex understood. He always did. The attack lasted seconds. One moment, the aliens were standing proud. The next, their formation was broken. Rex leapt through them like a storm, fast, low, impossible to hit. He struck armored joints, tore weapons apart, and ignored the blast that grazed his body. The sound was terrifying, a mix of roars, metal clanging, and alien screams. When it ended, silence fell heavier than any weapon. Lena stood there, breathing hard. Around her, smoke rose from broken weapons and scattered debris. The alien commander, once arrogant, now lay against a rock, his leg bleeding, his eyes wide with disbelief. That thing is a monster," he hissed. Lena's voice was quiet. "He's my friend." Her mother crawled toward her, pulling her close. "What did you do?" she whispered. Lena didn't answer. She only looked up at the alien ship hovering above the field, its engines glowing. She knew this wasn't over. The aliens never forgave humiliation. Within hours, reinforcements arrived. 2 warships descended, demanding the surrender of the colony. Humans prepared for evacuation, but Lena refused to leave Rex behind. She stayed near him, her hand on his neck, feeling his heart beat like a drum. Around them, soldiers and civilians argued about what to do, but Lena wasn't listening. She watched the ships in the sky and whispered to Rex. "They laughed at us. They think they can do it again." He growled softly, a sound like an oath. Night fell and the colony's lights dimmed. The alien sent a final message: surrender by dawn or be destroyed. Most of the adults feared the end, but the child and her honey badger waited. Rex crouched near the old power generator, his sensors scanning the area. Lena had connected his armor to the human defense grid. She didn't know if it would work, but she had to try. If they were going down, they wouldn't go quietly. When the alien ships approached at sunrise, the sky turned red. Energy blasts rained down, shaking the ground. Humans hid underground bunkers, praying it would end quickly. But the first explosion triggered the generator link, and Rex roared as power surged through his armor. His body glowed with electric light, his claws crackling. Lena shielded her eyes as the system overloaded, feeding every ounce of power into him. The honey badger charged forward, tearing through the first wave of ground troops before they even realized what happened. The air burned around him, his armor reflecting the sunrise. The aliens panicked, their formation breaking again. One shouted, "It's unstoppable!" Another screamed, "Retreat!" But Rex didn't stop. He was beyond anger. He was defending his pack. From the ship above, the commander watched in horror. He realized too late that this was not a simple human pet. It was something else, something made by humans who refused to lose. The creature they mocked had become the symbol of everything they feared. When the battle finally ended, half the alien camp was gone, their ship limping into orbit. Lena stood beside Rex, her jacket torn, her face covered in dust, but her eyes bright. Around her, the humans slowly came out from hiding. No one spoke for a long time. The wind carried only the sound of burning metal. Her mother touched her shoulder.
"Lena, what have you started?"
The child looked up at the sky where the alien ship disappeared.
"Something they'll never forget,"
she said softly. Rex stood beside her, silent, his armor dimming as the power drained away. The war hadn't been declared yet, but it had already begun. The alien empire had many names, but humans knew them as the Zerath Dominion, a race that believed fear was the only law. For centuries, their fleets crossed the stars without challenge, but now whispers spread through their ranks. A single small human colony had destroyed a patrol ship. A child and her animal had done what entire armies could not. At first, the High Council laughed at the reports. "A honey badger?" one general snorted. "You mean an earth scavenger with teeth?" But the recordings changed everything. The footage showed a creature moving faster than any known predator, tearing through soldiers wrapped in combat armor. They watched as plasma bolts hit its body and bounced off. They saw red eyes burning like fire and a small human girl standing beside it, unafraid. Silence filled the chamber. For the first time in decades, the council had no words. On the human colony, Lena woke up to the low hum of the repaired power grid. Smoke still hung in the air from the last battle. Rex slept beside her, his armor cracked but still pulsing faintly with light. She touched his head gently.
"You did good,"
she whispered. He blinked once, a soft growl escaping his throat, a sound that meant safety. Her mother and the surviving colonists were rebuilding what they could. The communication tower had been destroyed, cutting them off from the rest of human space. Supplies were low. Fear ran deep, but Lena didn't feel it anymore. She had seen what fear looked like in alien eyes. It gave her strength. By noon, a small shuttle landed near the colony. Human soldiers in dark uniforms stepped out, their faces tense. Their leader, Commander Rains, approached Lena and her mother. "We got fragments of your distress signal," he said, "and a lot of strange reports. Care to explain what happened here?" Lena's mother hesitated. "They attacked us. My daughter's pet defended us." Rains glanced at Rex. The honey badger stood still, its eyes glowing faintly as if warning him to step back. "That's no pet," Rains said quietly. "That's a weapon," Lena frowned. "He's my friend." The commander studied her for a long moment. "Friend or not, you've started something big. The Dominion won't forget this. They'll come in force." The girl looked up at the sky. "Then let them come." Rains almost smiled, but there was worry in his eyes. "You don't understand, kid. The last time humans fought the Dominion, we lost half our fleet. They'll burn this planet to dust to make an example of you." But he underestimated how quickly fear could spread. Within days, alien outposts began to receive strange reports. Entire scouting parties refused to patrol near human systems. Soldiers spoke in hushed voices about the beast of Earth. Some claimed it could appear anywhere, tearing through metal and bone alike. The propaganda meant to control fear instead fed it. The more they mocked humans, the more the stories grew. In the Dominion capital, a new order was issued. Capture the human child alive. They wanted to show the galaxy that no one could defy them. The operation was led by Captain Vile, a ruthless strategist known for breaking entire worlds. He saw no reason to fear one small girl. He ordered a fleet of drones to locate her. Back on the colony, the humans worked through the night. They had learned how to connect Rex's armor to the defense turrets. Lena sat beside him, tools scattered around her. Her hands were small but steady, her face serious beyond her age. She whispered to herself as she worked, "They laughed at me once. They won't do it again." The next morning, Rex's sensors caught something on the horizon, metal shadows gliding through the clouds. The air grew heavy. The Dominion had found them. Commander Rains shouted orders, preparing the defenses, but everyone knew the truth. They were outnumbered. The colony's shields were weak, the weapons outdated. The first wave of enemy drones appeared like a storm of silver sparks in the sky. Lena stood with Rex at the front line. Her mother tried to pull her back, but Lena refused. "He won't fight without me," she said firmly. Rex's armor lit up, blue lines of energy tracing across his body. He growled, a deep rolling sound that echoed off the metal walls. The drones descended, their cannons charging. The humans opened fire, but it wasn't enough. Explosions tore through the defense lines. Then Rex roared. A shock wave burst from his chest, knocking drones out of the sky. Lena's connection with the power grid amplified his strength again. The air turned electric, bright with light and fury. Rex leapt into the swarm, claws flashing, tearing through machine after machine. The sky became chaos, fire, smoke, and the sound of alien metal screaming. Commander Rains watched in awe. "What in the hell is that thing?" Lena shouted over the noise. "That's Earth's spirit?" By the time the sun set, the ground was covered with burning drones. The Dominion signal faded into static. The colony still stood, battered but alive. The soldiers cheered, exhausted, but they all looked at Lena and Rex with new respect and fear. They knew now that humanity's fight had only begun. High above the planet, Captain Vielle watched the destruction through his ship's cameras. His jaw tightened. "Send this footage to the Council," he said coldly. "Tell them the stories were true." He turned away from the screen, his eyes dark.
If one child and her beast can do this,
What happens when the rest of humanity decides to fight back? Word spread faster than light. Across the stars, whispers turned into panic. Soldiers who once mocked humans now refused to patrol near their colonies. The Dominion Council called it mass hysteria. But everyone in the lower ranks called it something else. The Beast of Earth. Captain Vielle sat in his command chamber, watching the replay for the 100th time. The hologram showed a small human child standing beside her creature as drones exploded in a storm of fire. The girl's face was calm. The honey badger's roar made even the speakers tremble. Vielle had seen thousands of battles, but this unsettled him. "This is not natural," said his second officer, shifting uneasily. "No creature fights like that. No armor resists that much fire." Vielle didn't look away from the hologram. "It doesn't matter what it is," he said coldly. "We will find them, and when we do, I'll end this story before it grows stronger. But stories have power, and this one was growing faster than any army. On the human colony, the silence after victory felt heavier than war itself. The ruins still smoked, and the survivors rebuilt again, just as humans always did. Lena spent every waking hour repairing Rex's armor. His systems were damaged, and energy cells were nearly drained. Each pulse of blue light grew weaker. She worked with steady hands, whispering softly,
"You're gonna be okay."
"I promise." Rex rested beside her, his breathing deep and slow, his metal plating cracked. But his eyes still glowed faintly. He could sense danger before humans could see it, and his instincts told him something was coming. Commander Rains studied the skies. "They're not done," he said to Lena's mother. "They'll come back, bigger, stronger. The Dominion doesn't tolerate shame." Her mother nodded grimly. "Then we prepare. For all of us." Humans had been underestimated for centuries. They weren't the strongest or the fastest, but they endured. They learned, and they adapted. That night, the entire colony worked under the stars. Engineers turned farming drones into defense turrets. Mechanics used broken parts from Dominion wreckage to upgrade Rex's armor. Lena watched quietly, memorizing every movement. Far across the galaxy, the Dominion Council gathered once again. This time there was no laughter. The air was thick with unease. The hologram of Captain Vale flickered before them. "This beast," Vale said, his voice sharp, "has humiliated our military twice. If the galaxy believes humans can destroy our troops, rebellions will start everywhere," an elder counselor hissed. "Then destroy the entire planet. Burn it from orbit." Vale hesitated. "The child must be captured. The Empire wants her alive for research." The room grew cold. Another voice, quieter but colder, answered, "Do what you must." But end this myth. On the colony, Lena woke up before dawn. The world was quiet except for the hum of machinery. She looked up at the stars and wondered how far the stories had traveled. Did aliens really talk about her? Did they fear Rex's roar? It was strange. She didn't want fame or war. She only wanted safety for her people. But now her name had become a symbol. Rex lifted his head, sensing her thoughts. His eyes flickered. Lena smiled faintly. "We didn't start this," she whispered, "but we'll finish it." Moments later, alarms screamed through the base. Commander Rains shouted, "Incoming fleet!" Multiple ships. The ground shook as shadows covered the colony. Massive Dominion cruisers descended through the clouds, their hulls black and red, bristling with cannons. The sky filled with thunder. Rains turned to Lena. "Get inside the bunker!" But she didn't move. "If I hide, they'll just keep coming." He glared at her. "You're a child." She looked at Rex, then back at him. "I'm human," Rex growled low and steady, standing beside her. His armor flared to life, bright and fierce again. The generators connected. The lights pulsed blue across his body. Every survivor stopped working and stared. Lena climbed onto Rex's back, her yellow jacket snapping in the wind. "Let's end their laughter," she said. The first barrage hit the colony. Explosions tore the ground apart, but Rex moved through the smoke like lightning, leaping over fire, slamming into enemy mechs. His claws tore through their armor as plasma bolts ricocheted off his plating. Humans rallied behind him. Their weapons, powered by Dominion cores, fired harder and faster than before. For the first time, humanity fought not just to survive, but to win. Above them, Captain Vial's ship hovered like a vulture. He watched the chaos, his face grim. "Prepare to descend," he ordered. "I want the girl alive." But as he said it, Rex looked up. His red eyes locked onto the ship. Something primal passed between them, hunter and prey. He roared, and the sound cracked the sky. Every soldier on the ground froze. Even the Dominion troops felt their hearts stutter. It was more than sound, it was fury, alive and real. Vale's crew panicked. "Sir, the creature is charging energy!" The captain shouted, "Fire everything!" But it was too late. Rex lunged forward, glowing like a star. His body became a streak of blue fire as he jumped through the air, slamming into the nearest assault mech. The explosion shook the ground. Lena held tight, her face calm even as the sky burned around her. She could feel Rex's heartbeat beneath her hands, wild and unstoppable. When the smoke cleared, the battlefield was silent again. Half the Dominion fleet was destroyed. The rest fled. The colony was still standing, and among the ruins, Lena and Rex stood together, their silhouettes glowing against the rising sun. The legend had grown teeth. Across the galaxy, every soldier, every leader, every tyrant began to ask one question in fear. If this is what one human child can do, what happens when humanity fights back as one? The Dominion had always ruled through terror, but now that terror had turned inward. The name Lena Carter began to move through space like a forbidden word. Every soldier had heard the story. A human child and her beast destroying ships, tearing through machines and defying the Empire. Some said it was a myth. Others whispered it was real. Either way, no one wanted to find out. In the war halls of the Dominion capital, silence replaced arrogance. Reports arrived daily. Small colonies refusing tribute, outposts going dark, soldiers deserting. Even loyal commanders began to question orders. Fear was spreading faster than their fleets could contain it. At the center of it all was a single image, a recording from the last battle. A small human girl standing beside a glowing creature surrounded by smoke and fire. Behind them, the Dominion ships retreating. The Council watched that loop again and again. "This cannot continue," hissed the Prime Commander. One child cannot be allowed to destroy the order of the galaxy. But the truth was worse. The child had already done it. Back on the human colony, Lena was no longer just a child. She was a symbol, though she never asked to be one. The colony was rebuilding again, faster and stronger this time. New humans arrived from nearby worlds, bringing supplies, weapons, and hope. For the first time, humans from different systems were united under one thought: we fight back. Commander Rains stood near the defense wall, watching the newcomers work. "You realize what this means, right?" he said quietly. "We're no longer hiding. We're at war." Lena didn't flinch. "We didn't start it, but we'll finish it." Rex stood beside her, his armor fully repaired, new plates shining under the sunlight. The engineers had added Dominion technology, making him faster, smarter, even deadlier. His eyes glowed bright red, scanning the horizon constantly. The soldiers gave him space, not out of respect, but out of instinctive fear. That night, Lena couldn't sleep. The stars above looked different now, colder, closer. She thought about the worlds beyond, the people still living under Dominion rule. She could almost feel their fear. She turned to Rex, whispering, "They think we're monsters, but all we did was fight back." Rex made a soft growl in answer, like he understood. Maybe he did. Far away, Captain Vale was not dead. His ship, damaged and burning, limped back to Dominion space. The Council demanded punishment, but Vial refused to resign. "You don't understand what we're dealing with," he said, his voice hard and tired. "This is not just a child and her animal. This is humanity waking up." He leaned closer to the Council hologram. "If you want victory, you'll need to end humanity itself. Otherwise, this story will consume you." The Council dismissed him as a coward. But when he left the chamber, half of the officers avoided his eyes. They had seen the same footage he had, and in their hearts, they already knew he was right. Weeks passed. The humans fortified their colony, building underground bunkers and sky turrets from scavenged metal. Other species, small, oppressed ones, began sending secret messages, asking for help. For the first time, aliens sought humans for protection. One evening, a small ship appeared in orbit, sending a coded message. It wasn't Dominion. It was from a species called the Marn, known for their frail bodies and deep intelligence. The message was simple. "We saw what you did. We want to join." When the ship landed, Lena stood at the airlock with Rex. The Marn leader stepped forward, trembling. "We have lived in fear for generations," he said. "But when we saw your creature stand against the Dominion, we remembered what courage looks like." Lena didn't know what to say. She wasn't trying to lead anyone. But looking at their eyes, filled with hope, she realized something. This wasn't just her fight anymore. She nodded. "Then you're not alone." The Marn bowed low. "Then the galaxy will remember that fear can bleed." By now, the Dominion's propaganda failed completely. Their soldiers whispered that killing a human child would bring curses, that the Earth Beast haunted ships that invaded human sectors. Some even claimed to have heard its roar echo through the void of space. To silence the myth, the Council made a final decree. Operation Cleansing. Every human world would be purged. No survivors, no colonies, no mercy. Vale was called again to lead it. He stood before the Council, silent for a long time before saying, "If we do this, we prove them right, that we fear them." The Council ignored him. Orders were issued. War was declared. Back on the colony, the sky darkened with approaching fleets. Lena stood at the command post, watching the scanners light up with enemy signals. Thousands of ships, too many to count. Commander Rains muttered, "That's not a battle fleet. That's extinction." Lena took a deep breath. "Then it's time to show them what humans do when they have nothing left to lose." Rex growled, low and deep. The ground beneath them vibrated as defense turrets powered up, engines roared, and the colony prepared for the biggest fight in human history. Lena looked up at the stars, her voice quiet but steady. "They wanted to erase us. Now they'll remember us forever." As the first wave of ships entered orbit, every Dominion soldier felt something strange in the pit of their stomachs, something that didn't belong to logic or training. It was fear, And as the alarms echoed across the galaxy, one message began to spread through secret channels, carried from one rebel world to another. The beast of Earth still lives. The Dominion fleet arrived like a storm that swallowed light. Thousands of warships filled the sky above the human colony, their hulls shining black and red. Every living thing on the planet could feel the vibration in the air, the sound of power meant to erase entire worlds. Commander Rains stood at the defense wall, his voice steady though sweat ran down his neck. Shields up. Turrets active. Every gun, every drone, ready. Lena walked to the front line with Rex beside her. She wore a reinforced jacket lined with metal plates, her face calm. The honey badger's armor hummed, glowing a bright blue, brighter than ever before. His claws sparked against the metal floor as he growled at the sky. The first wave of enemy fire came down like rain. Explosions tore across the plains. Humans fired back, missiles streaking upward in white arcs. The sound was deafening. Rex leapt into motion, running through dust and flame. Every movement was precise, every attack brutal. He slammed through a collapsing wall and tore apart a Dominion assault mech twice his size. The humans behind him cheered, their fear replaced by fury. In orbit, Captain Vielle watched from his flagship. "Their creature fights again," his officer said. Vielle's jaw tightened. "Then let it. I want the girl alive." He didn't realize the comm channels were open. Across the fleet, soldiers heard the order and hesitated. Some had seen the recordings. Others had heard the screams. None of them wanted to be the first to face her. On the ground, Lena's voice came through every human radio. "They came to destroy us. Show them who we are!" Her words spread through the lines like fire. Mechanics picked up rifles, engineers manned cannons, even wounded soldiers crawled back to their stations. The colony wasn't just defending, it was defying. Rex roared again, louder than thunder, and sprinted straight toward the incoming dropships. Blaster fire hit his armor, but it only made the blue glow brighter. He jumped onto a landing craft, ripping through its hull, and it exploded midair in a shower of sparks. Every soldier watching from below shouted one word into the comms, "Earth!" And suddenly the whole planet echoed with it. The battle raged for hours. The ground shook as ship after ship fell. But for every one destroyed, 3 more appeared. The humans were running out of ammunition, out of power, out of time. Commander Rains stood beside Lena. "We can't hold forever." She looked at the sky, eyes reflecting the fire above. "We don't need forever. Just long enough for the galaxy to see." He frowned. "See what?" Her hand rested on Rex's head. "That we never bow." Far across the galaxy, other races watched the live feeds. Miners, traders, refugees, soldiers tired of fear. Every Dominion broadcast meant to show victory now showed chaos. They saw human fighters standing in open fields against burning ships. They saw a child riding a beast that glowed like lightning. They saw courage that made empires look small, and something broke inside them. On 3 distant worlds, uprisings began that same hour. Slave camps revolted. Factories went silent. Dominion patrols were ambushed by their own workers. The myth of the beast of Earth had become rebellion. Back at the colony, smoke covered everything. The humans fought in ruins, the air thick with dust and light. Lena stood on the roof of the old generator station, her hair whipping in the wind. She could see the command ship above, massive, untouchable. Rex looked up at it, growling low. She understood. "You think we can reach it?" He turned his head toward her, then back to the sky. "That was answer enough, all right," she whispered. "One last charge." She linked his armor to the colony's power core. Blue light surged through the cables, turning night into day. The entire base flickered, lights dimming as every bit of energy flooded into him. Commander Rains shouted, "Lena, what are you doing?" She smiled faintly. "Ending it," Rex roared and sprinted forward. His claws dug into the ground, tearing it apart as he ran faster and faster. Electricity danced around him, brighter than the explosions. The humans on the ground stopped firing and watched. Even the enemy soldiers froze. The honey badger launched himself upward, straight through the burning clouds, straight toward Vielle's flagship. The air itself split behind him in a shockwave. Inside the command ship, alarms screamed. Vielle shouted, "Fire everything!" Beams of plasma lanced through the sky, but Rex was faster. He crashed through the ship's shields and slammed into its core. For a moment, there was nothing but white light. Then the sky caught fire. The explosion was so bright that every sensor in orbit went blind. Dominion ships veered away, scattering in panic. The flagship was gone. The rest of the fleet broke formation, retreating into deep space. On the ground, silence fell again. The humans stared upward as the flames faded into morning light. The sky was quiet. Commander Rains lowered his rifle.
Did they just win?
No one answered. Lena stood in the ruins, staring at the place where Rex had vanished. The last spark of blue light flickered in the clouds above and disappeared. Her lips trembled, but she didn't cry. She only whispered,
"You kept your promise."
The wind moved through the wreckage. Somewhere far off, thunder rolled like a heartbeat, fading into silence. Across the stars, the story spread again, louder, brighter, unstoppable. The Dominion had not just lost a battle. They had lost fear, and from that day on, one name carried through every world, every ship, every whisper in the dark. The Beast of Earth. Days passed after the battle, but the sky above the colony still burned faintly red, like it refused to forget what had happened. The wreckage of Dominion ships lay scattered across the fields, twisted metal now silent under the sun. The humans who survived worked in silence, fixing what little remained. The war had cost them everything, but they were free. Lena walked through the ruins, her jacket torn and boots covered in ash. The colony was quiet. Too quiet. Every sound reminded her of Rex. The heavy steps, the growl that echoed like thunder, the sound of armor scraping against stone. But he wasn't there anymore. She stopped near the old generator, the place where she had last seen him. The ground was scorched black where he had stood. She knelt down, brushing her hand across the dirt. It was still warm.
"You did it," she whispered. "You saved all of us."
For a moment, she thought she heard a low rumble somewhere in the distance, soft and familiar. But when she looked up, there was only the wind. Commander Rains walked toward her slowly. His uniform was torn, his arm wrapped in a bandage. "The Dominion's retreating," he said, "all across their borders. Whatever that explosion did, it broke them." Lena didn't look up. "He's gone," Rains nodded. "Maybe. Or maybe he's out there somewhere."
"Creatures like that.
They don't just disappear," she smiled weakly. "Yeah, he never did know how to quit." Across the galaxy, the legend spread faster than any broadcast. Every world that had once bowed to the Dominion now rose in rebellion. Miners turned into soldiers. Farmers built weapons. Even alien slaves took up arms. They all carried one story in their hearts, the story of a child and her beast who refused to bow. In the Dominion's capital, fear ruled where arrogance once lived. Their fleets, broken and scattered, refused to fight. Whole planets declared independence. The Council tried to restore order, but no one listened. The empire that had lasted 1,000 years collapsed not under war, but under fear, and the fear now belonged to them. Months later, a ship arrived at the colony, a human flagship bearing the new emblem of the unified Earth Alliance. Out of it stepped ambassadors, scientists, and soldiers. They came to offer help, protection, and recognition. Commander Rains stood beside Lena as the leader of the delegation spoke. "Your world is now the heart of the new alliance," he said. "You inspired not only humans, but every race that ever lived under the Dominion's shadow. The galaxy is changing." Lena didn't answer. She was still looking at the horizon, where smoke touched the clouds. "He did that," she said softly. "Not me," the ambassador smiled. "Then the galaxy will remember both of you." That night, the colony held its first celebration since the war began. Fires burned bright and laughter filled the air again. Children ran through the ruins, pretending to be the Earth Beast, roaring and chasing one another. Lena stood apart from them, watching the stars. Her mother joined her quietly, wrapping a blanket around her shoulders. "You should rest," she said. Lena shook her head. "He's out there. I can feel it," her mother smiled faintly. "Maybe he's watching you too." Lena looked up. The stars were countless, cold and beautiful. For a moment, one of them flared blue just for a heartbeat before fading back into the night. She smiled.
Yeah, she whispered.
That's him. Across the galaxy, monuments were built. Songs were written. But no one truly knew what became of the honey badger called Rex. Some said he died in the explosion that saved humanity. Others swore he lived on, guarding the stars. What everyone agreed on was this: the Dominion never returned. The galaxy remembered that a child and her beast taught even the cruelest empire what fear truly meant. And on quiet nights, when the wind howled through the ruins of old worlds, soldiers on distant planets sometimes said they heard it again. The faint, low growl of something ancient, loyal, and unstoppable. They called it the sound of Earth.